So the F700, as opposed to the NC that I just rode, is very different. This is more of a typical motorcycle. The engine's upright. It feels very different. Look at the size of the exhaust. It's just so much bigger. It's smoother, but I'm going to take it on a short ride and see how she really behaves. This is the low seat version. It's very low to the ground. And this is something I wish the NC had. Gas tank on this side. You don't have to remove the seat. You just simply fill it up. But yeah, crash bars. It's a 700cc, so it's like 7 something. It's got the larger front wheel, so it's going more after the standard type of adventure bike market. So this is a 19-inch front wheel. Really accessible oil filter, seems to be very easy to maintain, but it's got ABS. It's a really cool bike. It's got that funky BMW style that a lot of the bikes have. The RT does not seem to have that, so it's less funky. This is definitely like a very unique sort of style. It's freezing. The sun is dipping. We're gonna take it for a short ride before the sun goes down. But single seat, and you have the key right there to remove it. So these engines, these bikes are almost indestructible. People have ridden these all over the world. It started with the Funduro, and very silly name for one of the first F series, the F650, which was a single cylinder. And this one is just so low to the ground because it's the low seat version, like I mentioned. And let's take it for a little bit of a spin. I've always wanted an F series of BMW, but I think the problem is that it costs a whole lot more money than the Japanese counterpart, but normally you do get a lot for your money here. You do get like the funky BMW style. The way you sit on it is very comfortable. I can flat foot it very easily, and that's one of the reasons people do get this bike, is that it's a bike that's very approachable. You sit on it, you can touch the ground. A lot of people, when they get on the Africa Twins, the Super Tenrays, the Tenray 700s, and ADV bikes, they realize that they're extremely tall and very difficult to ride for somebody that's shorter. You know, I'm actually like pretty short, 5'8", 5'9", but I prefer taller bikes. This one feels like it's almost like sport sort of height, sport bike position, standard bike position. And for me, I prefer the taller ones, just so you can see over cars and stuff. Very smooth shifting. And I think I did turn off the ABS, but this is a very smooth shifting bike. You do get bombarded by the wind though, because of the tiny little bikini windscreen. Wow, it is very nippy. A fun engine. You get this thing, you can travel the world. If you're shorter, you can get like this low seat option. Very easy to kind of get in and out of the bike. And it's got proven reliability. And it's the downside, of course, is the chain. A lot of the mid-size bikes like this only have chains. They don't have shaft drives. I believe that BMW had the 650 CS. That's a wacky bike. I'd love to get one of those. And that's got a belt drive. And it's very similar to the NC 700 with the frunk. BMW at that time was trying to get new riders. So the way they were trying to get new riders is getting bikes and then making them weird looking. The BMW F650 CS It doesn't get any weirder than that. You don't really feel a lot of the imperfections of the road. Like right here, you feel a little bit, but not too much. So if I hit info on the handlebar, it toggles between temperature, which is 41 degrees. 24 is the PSI of the tires, which is nice. 78, 70, oh, that's kilometers, okay. And yeah, temperature, I'm not sure what a lot of the stuff is. 49 miles to the gallon. That is another really great thing about this bike, is that it gets very good gas mileage because if it's an inline 2. Typically those bikes get better gas mileage. Alright, I'm going to turn right here. I'm very law abiding here. I don't know this area. Last thing I want to do is get in trouble with the law. Yeah, you know, I've always looked at the f800, f700 bikes, and I figured that Honda messed up when it came to making the NC700. They made it too commuter oriented. They should have made it more like this bike. Just make it more adventure looking. Get a 19-inch front wheel. I do like the engine on the NC because that's a more efficient engine. And when you have efficiency, it means like you have a big range, but also the tank on the NC is so much smaller than most typical bikes. I mean, look, this thing is on, but it's so quiet. You can barely tell it's on. Now, that's a good quality in a commuter. The handlebars on this also feel a little bit wider. But look at that. It just feels actually like a multi-cylinder bike, like a 4-cylinder. It's how smooth this is. There's no vibration at all coming from the handlebars. There's no vibration coming to the foot pegs. It's so smooth. Such a smooth little bike. I do wonder why they put the ignition here. That's a very odd place. You know, you see that on cruisers, and I wish they did do the keyless sort of start. BMW tends to do that with a lot of bikes. The ergonomics of this bike are also really good. The seat is pretty firm. It feels like the NC is a little bit taller in the seat, but I think that's because this version is the low seat version. They do make one that's got more standard height. I think one of the beauties of having an adventure bike is that when you're riding, there's a little bit more security in seeing over cars. I like to see what's ahead. How's the brakes on this thing? Let me see. Yeah, it dives in. So this is not like the RT and the GS. This one does have, look at that, it hits that hole. It's fine. I'm not sure how much horsepower this makes, maybe 50, 60 horsepower. A lot of times people, they look at spec sheets and they go like, oh man, that bike doesn't make enough power. But when you look at bikes like the Super Tenere or whatever, it doesn't look good in specs, but the way some engines produce power and the way they have a feel, that's the important part. Because even now a V-twin feels great to ride. If you've ever ridden an RC51 or something, yeah, the RC51 is slow compared to a 4-cylinder bike, but it's fun. It's a fun bike to ride. Fun bikes are much better to keep And I think a lot of times these bikes, people get like the big ADV bikes thinking that they're going to go on adventure, and they realize that they really need a smaller bike because big bikes are hard to ride. Imagine dropping one of those bikes. This one seems to be much more usable. So low to the ground that it doesn't feel like it's an adventure bike. Super smooth shifting, by the way. The RT is clunky next to this. Oh man, look at this car. SC300. That's a styling car, buddy. That is a great car. Those things have climbed up in price. Oh my god. Suspension is hard. But yeah, this is the Hey there. Are you gonna wave? You gonna wave and say you're sorry? No. This guy, that's a cool car too, the BMW 325. I think I want to go straight. SC300. Beautiful. That's a great looking car. People do all sorts of stuff to this thing. I just love exploring like new cities. All right. Rookie move there. Yeah, I don't feel like gas is also cheap here. $2.95. I don't know. What would you guys pick if you had to pick the NC700X over the F700 that I'm riding, and the prices were equal? Let's say that maybe the NC had a few more options. Would you pick this engine alone and chassis, or the NC? You know, that's kind of like a hard first world problem to have. The NC has got the DCT. I don't know. I think I'd probably pick the NC just because I like Hondas. If prices were equal, of course. I like the Honda thing. I like that Honda made a quirky bike that you're just capable of commuting on. I like that it's got a frunk. I don't need a top case. But this one, you take this thing into the mountains and it is a much more fun bike to ride. But this is the sort of thing that I'm like looking for. It's like, how good is it over like those humps? If you're a commuter, you're not going to be commuting in perfectly smooth asphalt. Let's see how the brakes are. This does have ABS. Yeah, stops really quickly. Alright guys, that is the f700gs. Very smooth bike. And that's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks to Clay for letting me borrow his cool bikes and riding. I mean, this thing is super smooth. You know, I think the only other F700 I've been close to Squirrely's, and he really likes his F700. It's his flagship, so he speaks highly of it. This one is incredibly fun to ride. That's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.